Welcome to Rock Life Podcast, where we talk about relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations. I'm Mike LaRocque, got my lovely wife Laura.
Hey guys.
That was a good one. So, what are we talking about today, honey?
Today I wanted to touch on a little bit of authenticity, transparency, vulnerability, and pedestals, and what those words really mean to us.
Okay,
And I did say I want to talk about this because
that's fair.
this is something I'll briefly explain a little bit why this came up. And why I wanted to talk about it, because we were kind of having a conversation about it when I learned this news. So earlier this week, it was brought to my attention that a really popular couple within the personal development and relationship industry
Right.
announced that they were ending their marriage. And so I was quite shocked, actually, because I don't actually follow them because I never ever really aligned or like jived with them. And perhaps that was my intuition telling me something. I don't know.
Who knows?
But I was shocked because they have like hundreds of thousands of followers, right? They are very big in the industry. And so I was shocked to hear that news. But what I did then was went and looked them up on their social media accounts. And I was really reading through the comments from people. And that's what really got me thinking about kind of myself and my personal journey through bringing a business online and being a lot more in front of people.
Right.
But then, like us too, how we started talking about our relationship online. And I mean, even doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
And it really just got me thinking about many facets that we'll talk about tonight, just as far as, I mean, you, our viewers, and what we want to portray to you, which is nothing fake, but also then to like what putting people on pedestals, maybe looks like, or the dangers of that, really.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Right? Because I was shocked in reading a lot of these people's comments on how let down they were from this couple's news. And that brought up a lot of interesting kind of things for me. But I guess there was a lot of love towards them as well, which I thought was great. It was just the negative comments that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
And so,
Everyone has an opinion on it, right? Mm-hmm. And you just get thrown into a bad spot.
yeah. So I guess we could just jump right into this, because that's exactly like a part of the points. I wrote down some points here to kind of keep us on track, but everyone has an opinion about everything, right? Like we have an opinion about everything.
Yeah,
but
100%.
the interesting thing about social media is that you think you know everything about someone and their whole life just by watching their highlight reel, right? Just seeing their posts. And so you have a perceived sort of image of this person,
Right.
and then you think you know everything about them in their life, when in reality, like, you only know what they want you to know.
It's funny that you say that. I wonder what happened. Like, what was it like in the 80s, 90s?
Like with Jim Rohn and
Well, those guys. But I mean, it was just, even just real, like, everyday people. Everyone had I guess it was just whatever the rumor mill was. Gossip at coffee or what? About anybody?
yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Social media's only been around since 2007.
Yeah, I guess it's a little off topic, but I just remember like sitting with a kid, like as a kid with my mom all the time, and like her and her friends would just sit around and be like, "Oh, so and so's kid and so,
Yeah.
da da da."
Yeah, I think that's what it was like coffee time, right? And also moms talking on the phone and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
there you
maybe.
go.
I
Okay,
don't know.
no, that makes sense. Sorry, that was way off topic, but it made me think about that.
Not on the list. I don't
It's
know.
not on the list, but no, I get it 100%. I like where you're going with this because it is, and everybody needs to know this. And we talk about it a lot, that social media is just, you're watching people's highlight reels, or some people get really stuck in the mud and they'll put all their business out there, which still is only from one side. You don't know the whole story, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's tough. You definitely can't. I know you feel like you know people,
Yeah.
especially with podcasting or anything, because we have these intermittent conversations for an hour at a time, and you really do see into our life, or you see into other people's lives, and you feel like you know somebody, but again, it's just kind of scratching the surface, or you just don't know everything about it, right?
Yeah, and then I mean, kind of another aspect of that too is a lot of people become keyboard warriors, right? When
Mm.
they're online and they will say some very hurtful things and have that kind of confidence and courage too, when like you wouldn't say the things that you probably type out in front of a person or to their face, right?
No, that even happened to me today at work. Everyone gets strong with emails, and then you
Yeah.
try to like, hey, how about you call me? And then you talk on the
Yeah.
phone and everything changes.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I get that. But yeah, people in comments and things, they write the nastiest stuff, and it's like, what do you don't even know me, and you would
Yeah.
never say that to somebody in real life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
here,
wild.
okay, so here's the dilemma with this couple. They have a relationship podcast.
Right.
They do relationship seminars, have sold books. So, like, they have made millions of dollars on their brand, which is all about helping people have, I don't know their like taglines because I don't actually follow them, but like just healthier relationships, right? Like
Right.
I don't really know. Again, I don't know their taglines, but so these people's comments were like, I feel duped and I feel lied to, and I've spent hundreds and some thousands of dollars on your courses and on this and that. And like now this all feels so fake and this feels like a lie. And I feel like, everything I learned from you now, like, do I use that? Do I not? Right.
Hmm.
So that was the part I wanted to talk about because I think it's really easy to forget about people's humanness.
Yeah, 100%. And what they've taught, or lessons that they've taught, are obviously tangible things that work. It just didn't obviously work out for them, but it doesn't take away. I don't think it takes away from anything that they were putting out there or anything. Like, again, I'm in the same boat you're in. I don't really know who these people are, but there's so many examples of that, right? Like counselors and things like that. A lot of people have great tools and can teach people a lot of things, but again, at the same token, have really fucked up lives themselves.
Well, fucked up lives are just like, don't have it. It's harder to implement, I suppose, than to know something all the time as well, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's this people's situation, but yeah, I find it interesting that people are saying that, but that also kind of goes into how powerful your mind is. Like, if you went to their conferences and you learned stuff from them and you invested your money in, like, it's a placebo, right? If you believed it and you went home and you did it and it worked for you, well, then who freaking cares if they stayed together or not? Because, like you just said, like, they still shared tools, successful tools that worked for them and for you.
Hmm.
So go with it, right? Like, and now if you want to switch your mind and be like, oh, they were fake and they were lying and everything,
You're the
then
reason my relationship doesn't
yeah.
work out, or didn't
And then
work out.
now your relationship starts to take a deep dive in the opposite direction.
Right.
But it's just an interesting thing to point out that like your mindset, right?
Yeah.
If you put them on a pedestal and you cherished everything that they said, well, and they were your God, then of course, like it's going to work for you. But if you choose now to think the opposite, then maybe it won't,
Right. No, that makes
right?
perfect sense. And that goes with every, like, people with sports stars or rock stars, and you meet them and you're like, oh, should not have met my hero, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're
So
just humans.
yeah.
And I think too, like with this couple, really what people have done is put them on a pedestal. But when you put someone on a pedestal, like you give away all of your power, right? Like you're the God, you know everything, like tell me what I need to do, instead of taking the tools and taking the resources or even the inspiration that they may have shared with you,
Yeah.
and then turning inwards and going inside your own heart and your own soul, and then doing what feels right and what is right for you and your own unique relationship, because me and you are like completely different people than her and her husband would be,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And we're all coming with our own baggage, our own belief systems, our own families, our own soul journeys, like all the things. So when we think we know someone and we want to judge them and criticize them, like I think it's really important to remember those things, right? Like maybe I don't know if people believe in this, but I do. Like maybe their soul journey together was to come and create what they did, and now it's time to part or carry on moving forward in different ways because they do have kids, but
Yeah. I was gonna
it'll look
say
different.
they'll probably spin that and
Oh, people have already said
how to
that.
divorce,
Like
how to divorce
book and
properly, and
co-parent.
yeah. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah. They'll
Sky's the limit. Sky's
continue
the
making
limit.
money on that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people had said, like, watch out for this book now. But I think, I don't know, is there anything else you want to say about like them specifically, or like that situation and how people put them on pedestals, or, are really sitting there criticizing and judging them for announcing this?
No, I don't think so. And that just goes for everything, right? You can't judge anybody, like for anything, really. Like, and we do, and I do myself, and 100% do that. But we have no right to judge anybody. You don't know their scenarios. You don't know what happened. You don't know anything, right? So yeah, you can't say nothing about anything unless, like, what the fuck was it? You got to be careful when you live in a glass house or something along
Don't
those
throw
lines, right?
rocks when you live in a glass house,
Yeah,
or
something like that, right? Because I see that lots at work myself personally, because you can't sit there and bitch at everyone else when your shit's not ready, or like people are waiting on you. So yeah, there's definitely most people too who judge, or those keyboard warriors, are their life's such in shambles that they're just trying to get some sort of joy out of. Like, some people are happy that they got divorced because they're like, oh fuck, they're not so perfect, and like that brings them joy, which is fucked up. But
yeah. Well, and I can speak like right from my heart on that, because I don't know how many years ago, but like years back, I would be happy. Like feels terrible to admit it, but
right,
I know a lot of my clients have mentioned similar things to me. Like, yeah, when you're always putting on the facade of perfection, but inside you're like crumbling, right? And
yeah,
you're hurting. When you see other people's lives get torn apart, you're like, oh yeah, they're not so perfect.
right.
I'm not so terrible,
No,
right?
it makes sense.
And it's sad, but I think until you maybe dive inwards and do that inner work and you're comfortable with your life and your situation and where you're at, it's a little harder to feel that,
Right.
or easier to feel that maybe.
Yeah. No, 100%. I could see that.
Right? And again, too, like on that note, I think the people who criticize others for, maybe divorce or ending relationships, or again, we all come with our own religious beliefs and different things like that.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, I do think that sometimes the people who are the loudest and most opinionated are the people who actually want that in themselves, but wouldn't be able to move ahead with it, right? Or don't know how
Yeah.
to change their life or move on. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Big time. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
then it's easier to be the keyboard warrior. And
Oh, it's
like
way
be the
easier,
victim,
way
right?
easier to hide behind that stuff than actually change or do some work on yourself
Yeah.
or your relationship or anything, right?
Yeah.
It's way easier to sit there and be poor me and just fucking wallow in your own shit.
Yeah. And that kind of just reminds me of a conversation we were having with a friend recently about just like stigmas of divorces and stuff like that, right? And how when you just own your shit and you own it, right? Like you just, yeah, this happened, or yeah, we're doing this, like we're parting ways or we're moving on or whatever. If you just own it, then people have nothing on you. Like we're also worried about being judged and criticized and being the talk of the town.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you just own your stuff and you got nothing to hide, then what do those people really have on you? And then you come to realize that whatever drama they need to create is for their own sense of purpose. It
Right.
really has nothing to do with you, right?
Yeah. I think, yeah, I talked about that last week too, right? That gives you a whole sense of power too. Like, again, don't get all mopey and shit, but if you just put everything, if you're an open book, really,
Yeah.
for the most part, there's nothing to really, no one can
Yeah.
hold anything against you or use anything against you. So,
Yeah.
no, it makes perfect sense. And it sucks that, when you're stuck in that spot where you're thinking that you have to be perfect for everybody.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you can see it from the outside, it's like, fuck, you're so far from perfect. Just be yourself and
Yeah.
you'll be fine, right? But
Yeah.
it takes a lot to get there.
It does. You're perfectly imperfect. So
Very-
cliche, but like so true, right?
Yeah.
And I think, kind of just bringing it back to them for a second, one of the comments that I had read was someone saying like they announced that their marriage has been kind of on the rocks for 3 years. So these people were like, 3 years, like you've been doing seminars and podcasts and, shows for 3 years and you never once mentioned anything. And again, I can't contest to that because I don't watch this stuff.
Yeah.
But I just thought that that was interesting. And all of this is reflecting back onto me because I'm like, where do I want to be better and do better and share with our audience and not be like that, which again, we're going to fuck up things,
Yeah.
obviously. But at the same time, I was like, okay, yeah. Like if they weren't sharing struggles and only sharing like how to be better and how to have the best marriage, is that real? And that's
No.
why I never followed the woman in the first place because I thought she just seemed not real.
Right.
I couldn't relate. I was like, she's too perfect.
No, and anyone in a relationship or in a marriage or anything like that knows that nothing's ever perfect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just even tonight, like you throwing the microphone on the ground and then me getting mad. Started out with some bad energy, but I mean, that's life. That's just what it is, right? That's what we bring to the table. That's why my energy's been all day, has been pissed off and just kind of like in a negative spot just because of work and things like that. But that just goes to show, like, I know better. I have you as a coach to coach me in like a lot of things, and I know what I should do to snap out of this, but I'm just like, fuck it. It's easier to be mad today, chalk it up to the case of the Mondays, and then, and then just carry on, right? And it's funny because then, Wednesday will roll around, I look back, I'm like, fuck, that was not that bad of a day.
Right.
But
Well, hopefully it doesn't get worse each day leading up to that, but it could if you keep dwelling in it.
yeah, stay in that mindset, and I'll just keep making it worse.
Okay, so why don't you share a little bit more about what just happened? This is real life. We never even actually talked about it. So you're getting the real rawness of it.
Yeah, what do you mean? What happened
Here.
here? Well, you had the water bottle like a doughhead out in front of you, and then our microphone stands, they're not mounted to the floor, so it's basically a house of cards, really. So then you swung the mic over, and I don't know, did the cord drag it down too, and whatever else happened?
I don't know. I just heard a thump and then I heard Mike be like, "For fuck's sakes, Laura." And
Wow.
then right away I just was like,
Yeah, then you
and then I
just
was like,
fucking
I don't even
clammed
think we
up.
should do this podcast because now my energy is off.
Right. That about sums it up, really. That's about what it is. I don't know. And then, like I say, I have no reason to really be upset. Accidents happen, and that's what it was. Not like you purposely
Well, that's what I
threw
just
that
got,
on the
like,
ground.
instantly mad about because I was like, these things are a lot. Like, I don't know. I'm just here to talk.
Yeah, I know. And this is only
So
the
these
second
aren't
time we're
even my
using all this.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I've already like wrecked it. And then you value this more than my feelings, is what I was thinking in that moment. It was like, is that more important than me? It's not like I was just like, fuck this shit and threw it around.
Yeah, no, that's fair. 100% that's fair. No, and it has nothing. I don't give a fuck about this stuff, right? But it has nothing to do with that. But that's where my head's at right now.
Yeah. And okay, so this is a really great lesson for relationships. Who knew we were going here? But usually that straw that breaks the camel's back has nothing to do with the thing you think it has something to do with.
Yeah, and I notice that a lot is just being a parent, right? Like you'll snap at, like I snap at Lennox for certain things, and it has nothing to do with what he's doing. He's just being a fucking kid.
Mm-hmm. Your nerves just like on the
You're
last.
you're just on you're on the edge of the fucking edge, right?
Yeah.
And then that's the one thing that does it. And then we probably traumatize them for doing that one thing that had nothing to, that's where you get all those childhood traumas where it wasn't even, had nothing to do with that fucking thing that you're doing. But now you'll just equate that thing to being in trouble, right? So
forever be afraid to make that mistake.
yeah,
again.
exactly. And it, meanwhile, it had nothing to do with anything.
Well, I will say I'm forever afraid to tip the
Yeah,
mic
don't
over
fucking drop the
now.
mic again. But yeah, no, that's exactly where, that's what I'm feeling right now anyway. But it's getting better. It's getting better. It can only get better. So
Yeah, well, okay, so gosh, I have so much to say, but okay, I want to say that I always tell my clients that when shit happens, you can choose to be a victim, or you can choose to lean in and really just feel the feels, go inwards, acknowledge like what's going on, and then move through it. And there's always going to be a lesson through that, or, something beautiful on the other side.
right.
And so I just want to say this because I think that it's funny when it happens in real life. And that just happened because, like, obviously starting our podcast like that wasn't the most ideal way to start it, because then right away I was like, you are annoying me and I want to walk out of this room. And I thought, like, I sat here in this moment and I was like, okay, I can choose to wallow in this and be like, poor me, you're a dick,
Right.
right? And then we could carry that energy on all night long and just go to bed separately and wake up tomorrow and whatever. Would you apologize? If you listened to our podcast last week,
Yeah, there you go.
you'll
Right.
know more where that's coming from.
Yeah.
But instead, we still showed up, and just look at how that little struggle, I mean, it's pretty minor in the comparison of like maybe real life relationship issues, but it's all those little things in relationships
Oh,
that
that add
boil
up. Yeah.
up. Yeah. It had to happen for a reason, because someone is listening to this podcast now and being like, right?
And drop the
Something's
microphone
clicking. I literally dropped the mic. Oh, yeah, I never even thought about that.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Always wanted to do
Don't drop me, whatever you do. But yeah, no, I get it. Absolutely. And that really is.
Right. So, like, every struggle, if you choose to lean into it, can be some sort of blessing, right? So, if this was for you, tell me. Make sure you send me a message after, because I want to know this was the message you needed to hear tonight. And I won't feel so bad about dropping the mic, because I'll know that it was for a reason.
Yeah, there. Help somebody.
I helped you at my sacrifice.
Yeah. I'll be okay.
But anyways, okay, well, that's really good, because that brings us back around to kind of what we just wanted to share about us, like, enough about them, and now just like us and what this podcast means to us, and future things that we create. Because I mean, yeah, we're not making millions of dollars on seminars and shows and
Well, the way you're
programs.
fucking throwing microphones around, it's like you're making. Anyway,
Sure,
okay, I'll
actually.
drop that. I'll lose that. Okay.
You should quit living in the past, man.
Yeah.
Move
100%.
forward.
Move on. Move on.
Okay, so yeah, that's not us, right? But we do have some fun things that we're creating together, and
Yeah.
people are coming to us for. So we're seeing a need in your guys' lives that we have tools for. So we want to create something for you and your partners moving forward, and that's coming down the line a little bit when we have a little bit more space to work on that together. But I guess this is just like a really great time to be sinking into how we want to show up and how we never want you to put us on a pedestal. And just saying that makes me feel like super egotistical.
No, but it makes sense. Like, I mean, it's hard when you listen or when you see people talking about this stuff, and you're just sitting there like, God, I wish I could do that with my partner, or have these conversations with my partner, and just kind of build it up, right? Like,
Right. It can happen slowly.
absolutely. And I get it. Absolutely get it. But yeah, no, it's interesting to feel that, because it's like you said, helping some couples lately, and it's been building, and obviously you're doing your thing and you're doing great at it. And now we're finally, LaRocque Life's finally getting to the point where we always thought it would be getting, where we can help real couples with real issues. And it's like, I'm amazed at some of the stuff that we talk about, and the things that you say, and the things that we actually come up with is, holy shit, we're actually those, like, becoming those people now.
Right.
Where it was always on, not like a faraway land, and not like some just like pipe dream, but it was always something that I was trying to attain or do different things, but like, fucking like, we're living it, right? And you have real tangible information, and we have tangible information to give to people. And it's exciting. It really is an exciting time to be on this side of it, right?
Yeah.
And to help anybody, right? And that's always the biggest goal, is like, well, what would you do if money wasn't an issue? And 99% of the people always say, like, I want to help people.
Yeah.
Just don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
But this is the way we can, because we went through so much shit, right? And now we can let that out to people. And we had to do a lot of work and spend tens of thousands of dollars on different things and different mentors and different experiences, but to get us all to this point of where we're at. And it's exciting. It's exciting for me anyway. Especially being like just a construction worker, right? And doing all that and still doing that and being all pissy and whatever else during the day and have to put on this facade and, or not even a facade, I guess, be myself, which turns out I'm a pretty dickish person, I guess.
Kind of a dick.
Yeah, when you can offend a bunch of welders today and make them feel bad, it's like fucking pussies. Sorry, there's that dick. But I mean, it's funny, right? And then and now and to be doing this with you is just it's very exciting. 100% it is.
Yeah, well, and kind of coming back to that whole like putting on a pedestal thing. The thing is that I've never viewed us as these people.
No.
And even when I say these people, let me elaborate. Because when we went through our marriage problems and kind of prepared ourselves for divorcing,
Right.
I never would have dreamed that we'd be sitting here openly sharing our life. And a part of the reason that we're at this point now, which I feel is delayed and behind,
Yep.
which obviously, like, my higher self knows it's not. It's obviously divine timing. But at the same time, my human self is like, we should have been here years ago because
Yeah.
we started LaRocque life in 2016. Yeah, the year Lennox was born, before he was born.
Yeah.
I think like right before we got pregnant. And so that's 4 years ago. And I just feel in my head that we should have been a lot further ahead, but we kind of took like almost a 2.5, 3 year hiatus.
We'll call it more learning.
Yeah. And that was it. Like we had to step back and do a lot more learning. You went through depression. We grew way deeper through all of that together.
Yeah.
And then I grew. It was actually a blessing because then I went off on my own and started my own coaching with women, which has been a huge blessing in itself, right? And
Absolutely.
obviously complementary to this. But a part of all of that kind of pullback too was I had to grow more as a person and my confidence to even be able to be this person, to sit here and share openly my life with you, because that's like vulnerability, right? Like
Right.
to sit here and share with you our problems or like our
just
conflicts, our
struggles,
struggles, right? It's not like my mom always says to me, like, how can you just do that? And I'm like, I don't know. Now in my heart, I've connected to the why so deeply that I feel like what you were just saying, if you can help just one person
Mm-hmm.
move through something and have a stronger relationship, because then that trickles down to the kids. And for
Yeah.
me, that's just such a big why.
Well,
I
that
know
was always the goal, right? For you,
Mhm.
you always wanted to help kids or always wanted to help, especially like young girls and things like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
And this is the way you're doing it.
Exactly. And that, like I've said this before, like I absolutely love and adore my parents. It's just that I always craved having my parents in love, right?
Right.
And it's nothing against them. Again, I know that everyone was on their own journey, but that's what I want to give back, is strengthening that relationship with yourself and then with your partner, because for the kids,
Right.
right? Like giving them that foundation that they'll grow up and go into adulthood and already have that is huge. And I think the world needs a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
So just a lot more love, right?
Yeah, totally.
But anyways, so sharing that and being open and vulnerable scared the shit out of me, because that opened myself up to criticism, just like we just opened this talking about that couple who announced their divorce.
Right.
And I mean, I would love to say that I hope we never get a divorce and it's not in our plan, but who the frick knows what could happen in our future, right? Like
No?
life is very unpredictable. I mean, I'm 130% committed.
We're not real numbers people, but
130%. I was going to say 130 out of 130. So I guess that would be 100%.
carry the 9. Anyway, okay.
I should just stop talking math. It's not my forte.
Both ways. See,
Okay,
that's our divine. Yeah.
So I'm just very committed, obviously, to our marriage.
Right.
And so, but there's still that like, okay, but people can openly criticize us, right?
Yep.
But I think now reading that information about those people and the way people were putting them on a pedestal, it really is a blessing for us in just starting out with our brand of relationship coaching and helping couples to evolve, because we really get to like set that foundation of like, and I think we already have, because this is our 14th episode, but I think in the 13 prior episodes, we've probably shared many instances of like imperfection
Right.
and just realness,
Well,
right?
yeah, and every like people can smell that a mile away, or I guess most people, like
Yeah.
yeah, unless you're just that good at covering it up or that good of an actor or whatever like that. But
Yeah.
I know I couldn't sit here and fucking blow rainbows and butterflies all day because well, people will get that right away off me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And honestly, in the last however long it's been, is just there's that's all I've been doing is spewing out honesty.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. Like, we have issues. Like,
Yeah, big time.
I think
By the time you fucking drop that microphone. Yeah, anyway, okay.
we have big time issues. Maybe we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
I mean, we have everyday issues,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think we
Well,
have.
it's tough, and you
we've-
gotta fucking living life with a toddler, and like
Yeah.
I get it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've
Stressful.
cleaned out a lot of our closet. So a lot of that shit that has been stuffed in after 16 years. But
Right.
there's always day-to-day things, right? Where,
Yep.
yeah, you deal with work, you deal with a annoying toddler at times, and, you know, you get frustrated, you snap on each other. Like, that happens. And I think, like, the number one thing that I want to really portray in anything that we do together for couples is that it's messy and it's never going to be perfect, and there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows, but it's a commitment. And as long as you're committed to, what did I say last night? Like, grabbing arms and like walking through the mud together, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're in it together. We're going to lean into this. We're going to grow through it with the tools and the resources that we gather along the way. And in those moments also, like, reach out to people who do inspire or support us. Then I don't know, like, life is so much easier. But I feel like if you just let go of that, like, oh, we're aiming for the perfect marriage every day, then that expectation, like, is kind of out the window, right?
Big time. Yeah.
You're not really going to get let down.
No. Yeah. Exactly. Right. No, that makes perfect sense. I think.
And that was a part of too why I pulled back with LaRocque Life in the beginning, because I was like, but we don't have the perfect marriage. And, you know, sometimes we are disconnected, and sometimes you do frustrate me. And then you went through depression, and then I was like, we are living a lie.
Yeah,
right?
that didn't
Like,
help anybody.
it
Yeah.
didn't feel like authentic. And so that made me not want to share. But I think where we're at now is we have that confidence, and I feel like I have a lot more of a backbone, that, and also so in touch with my why, and knowing that we do help couples from the people who reach out to us and the things we've helped people move through,
Yeah.
that criticism and judgment just kind of rolls off my back now. Because,
Yeah, and
well,
a
it would.
toolkit too. Like you got
Yeah.
a lot of stuff up your sleeve that you can whip out and
Yeah.
do whatever it takes, right? And
Yeah.
go in different directions on things. Whereas maybe when we're starting out, we're very linear, or I myself anyway. That's what I thought. Like you only had like one thing, or like someone else threw a wrench in it, like, "Eeh,
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell to do in this situation."
Yeah.
But now you can just, you're very empathic. You can just kind of roll with things and wherever that takes you. But obviously, like I say, you're so much stronger, and you have that backbone. That yeah, whatever comes on, it just goes, right? Or even calls, like back in the day, I remember like coaching calls, right? Whereas you kind of work yourself up for like, shit, I got this coaching call, got to do this, got to do that. And whereas now it's like, hey, just got to do this, and the
Yeah.
call will go where it goes, and I know no matter what, you're going to provide value anyway.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, like just a confidence that it's very unwavering. And then now you, like you said, you don't have to worry about whatever people say, which still hurts. Like, I mean, criticisms suck and
Yeah.
it
It
hurts,
always hurts.
but now it's not going to knock you down or knock
That's-
us down to,
That's what I was gonna say. I think there's a difference between like a hurt but knock you out of the game, right?
yeah, big time.
Yeah. And so I guess like we just, as egotistical as I say this sounds, like, never want to be put on a pedestal or come across that we have it all together or that we have the perfect marriage. I mean, I think we do have the perfect marriage.
I think so.
Because again, it's perfectly imperfect. We have qualms. Sometimes we don't talk and we go to bed angry. But the difference is that we know better, and we also have the tools that we move through things faster than we ever did before.
Yeah, big time. You don't have to go through all that heartache for a week or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, or play the
For
victim card
yeah,
forever, or
yeah, for any of that, right?
yeah, and we can openly communicate things. So yeah, there's like a ton of growth. And I'm sure like it's amazing to think about where we can continue to grow into and connect, and then be able to share those tools and resources here as well, and in future courses and stuff. And really, like we were talking last night, is to be an inspiration, because it's one thing, to read something about what worked for couples in a book, but to actually hear people's stories and people you might know or be getting to know through this podcast,
Yeah.
to hear our story and our struggle and how we moved through it 6 years ago. No, yeah, 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago.
Right.
But then even now, our daily struggles, but that we still move through them. Then if that inspires you to go and have a conversation with your husband or your wife, then like our job is done, right?
Oh, big time. Absolutely. And that's, again, like for myself, I really want that, to inspire people for change, and even for work. I know that, like for my career, I know I try to do that as much as I can. I say it too much. I think I affirm that I'm stupid a lot in my own head.
We talked about this on a podcast
I think we did, right?
a few
And
weeks
then,
back.
but just to, I had zero business doing what I've done in my life. Um, but I have, like, especially being like a native, right? To be in these positions that I've been just kind of, I don't know. It's a mix of a lot of things, like being in the right place at the right time, just some dumb luck, and it takes work too, and you have to rise to those occasions, and um, which I have, and to inspire people, or like younger people to, especially like younger native people to be in these positions and to help people in that sense. And um, it's not even like an ego thing, not in the ego sense of, like the typical 20-year-old guy ego. It's more of a just proud of what, just being a man and becoming that, and being an inspiration and being a leader, which takes a lot to step into, and finally feeling that and believing it, I think, is a big thing. Gets a little off topic, but it's, I don't know. That's just how I feel right now. It's just, it's very special, and not in a bad way. And I love that we're able to do that for people, and to be extremely honest about it, and not put on a facade.
Well, what the world needs now, you got that song stuck in your head? Sorry. Is transparency, right?
Right.
Like people are seeing through that fake facade, and everyone just wants real and truth. I mean, look at the world right now. Like everyone is craving truth, and
It
it's
sucks,
coming
right?
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it just makes you feel hopeless. They're like, well, fuck, if that was all fake, then like,
Yeah,
what now,
exactly.
right? Or like, what am I living?
Yeah. And so I think really kind of in sharing this, it's like what we really wanted to portray in today's podcast is just live your life, right? Embrace your struggles, accept that shit happens, and don't be putting anyone on pedestals. Like I said earlier, get inspired, collect tools, collect resources, and that might look like working with certain mentors for 6 months or 2 years, or maybe work with a certain mentor for 5 years. But it's okay to move on to other mentors and to other people and learn different things and
Yeah.
listen to different people, and take what resonates with you and dump out the rest, right? Like not everything we say is going to resonate with you,
Oh, big time. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think for me, I can only speak for myself, but in this, like my commitment is to always be real.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. That's the whole point of it. And that's why my awesome opening of real and raw conversations is, that's what it's going to be. And we can't, and like I say, people would sniff that out a mile away anyway.
Yeah.
But that's a huge commitment to everybody. And that's commitment to us, to just keep it real. Right. And that's what we're doing. And that's why I think our marriage is doing so well too, is that's how we are. Don't just
Yeah.
sit there and bitch at each other, but we talk about how we feel, and just squash those things right away, and nothing festers. too
Yeah.
badly anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up this microphone thing a few more times. So.
I might not be done talking about the mic.
No,
but
probably not.
no, I'm feeling pretty good about the mic.
Good.
But I will say, just on the aspect of being real, when that happened, it made me really almost be in Lennox's shoes because, like, how often am I telling him, like, don't do that, or, oh, Lennox, what did you do, kind of thing, right? And so sometimes we forget what that feels like. And so I just kind of felt like a little kid getting in shit from my dad. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. So you had kind of said that, like, I don't want to be traumatizing him with always telling him
No,
that
and
kind of stuff. So, and I like that, my heart was just like,
yeah,
right. So,
absolutely. I forget that. And I always feel bad. Like if that happens, then afterwards I'm like, fuck, like feel it like in his shoes, just like you said, right?
yeah.
And you're just like, fuck, you didn't do that on purpose. Like it's not like you meant to do any of that stuff, but then you just feel like shit after, right?
Yeah.
On both sides. Like the person well, I do anyway, I guess. I guess some people probably take joy in yelling at somebody and just walking away, but
Yeah.
it's not like even Lennox, it's not like they meant to do most of the things. He's a fucking kid, right?
Yeah.
Just let him be a kid.
Yeah. You're just hyper and you're bouncing around and you drop the mic.
There you go.
But that's like, I think I really understand like where shame can come from and how easy it is to come. Because even right there, I felt like I was a bad person because I dropped the mic.
Right.
So I can see how we can, I don't know, like inflict that in a way on our children
Yeah.
by making them feel like they're a bad person for accidentally doing something. So I'm only sharing that because that's like a really good lesson for me right here, right now, to take into tomorrow, to be like, wow, I just felt that. And I hope I never make him feel that way. So I'm going to be very conscious about the way I say things to him because I don't want to make him feel that way.
Right. No, that makes
So
sense.
thanks for making me feel shameful so that I can help.
I'm just here to teach you a lesson. That's all I'm doing.
You're just here to help your son, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But see, blessings and everything. So now this trickles into Lennox, and he's probably going to have a better day now.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Do you have anything else that you want to add to that?
I don't think so. I mean, like I say, just don't put anybody on a pedestal. Superstars, like sports figures, anybody. They're all normal people. And none of them like that, too. I mean, maybe there is some, I guess, that big egos and just want everyone to cater to them, but most people, especially in London, I got to meet a lot of like celebrity fighters and just celebrities in general, and they just want to have fucking normal conversations, just be a normal person around them, and
Yeah.
it goes so and that just goes so far, right? So it doesn't help anybody, I don't think,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Well, and I feel like we might have talked about this on a podcast before, but like I remember meeting Antonio Banderas
Right.
at the store when I worked in London as well.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have even recognized him because I don't know, like he wasn't on TV and I don't idolize anyone. So for the girls to tell me when I took over that he was in the store, I was like, oh, really? And then I just kind of looked at him. But then I felt weird because I was like, so do I treat him differently? I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to be treated differently. He just wants to be treated normal. And he was very nice.
Right.
But it was just interesting, yeah, in that moment to be like, yeah, he's just a real, like a normal dude. I mean, I don't know him. I didn't know him from that interaction or get to know him from that interaction in the store. But from my experience with him in the store, he was just a normal dude. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to treat you like a normal person, right? But I think right now is a great lesson as well. Like Hollywood, does anyone really care about the stars right now?
No,
like,
hey,
how is your life affected? Because
I really hope people realize that in
no
what's it been, like
sports,
3 months, whatever it's been.
Yeah.
So they started movies, I think, on Monday or today. I think they're starting
did
a
they?
production
okay.
again on movies and stuff. But yeah, like I hope you realize that it doesn't affect your life at all.
Yeah.
Like it's all just a distraction, right?
Yeah. And the things that truly matter to you are the partners and the children.
Yeah, and just your family and whoever's in your house,
yourself,
right?
yeah.
Keeping yourself fed and keeping your family warm, and that's the things that matter, and that's what fucking history. It's all we've done in history. So everything else is just a distraction from that, and just makes us feel even worse about ourselves, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
100%.
So don't idolize anyone.
No.
Don't put anyone on a pedestal. Get inspired. I mean, I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Get
Big time.
inspired, collect resources, collect tools, and that's what we hope that we can be. for you.
No, I think that's great.
That's our commitment anyways.
That's the credo around here.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Keeping it real.
Well, should we leave it at that then?
I think so. That's all I really got on my list, I think. My notes.
Perfect. Cool. Well, where can people find us?
LaRocque Life. LaRocque Life, Instagram, Facebook, or probably where you might be a little bit better off to follow me right now is Laura LaRocque on Instagram and Facebook. And you can check out my website, lauralarocque.com, because that's where I got all the information on my signature coaching service with just women. So I only work with women and on really like healing their relationship with themselves, which then also heals their relationship with their partners or initiates that change and healing with their partners.
Yep.
But all that information is on my website, lauralarocque.com. I launched my love collection, so the love mugs that we've been drinking with, but we don't have them here tonight. Those are for sale on my website, and they're a whole like experience collection that you get, and it's all about that inner love. And we will be coming with something in the future for couples, because I want to touch on this just really quickly. Sorry.
Sure.
So basically, where I veered off into with coaching was me just working with women, and it's been great. And I'm going to continue doing that because I absolutely love it. And my clients are having great,
huge transformations, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, and I mean, we're always being guided, right? The people are starting to come to us, and it's couples that want to grow and evolve together and strengthen their relationship together.
Right.
So we'll be creating something for both of you, the husband and the wife, to be able to come together, to work together with us to grow and evolve, and not just like one person doing it, right? Because I know some of my clients are like, their husbands want to know like, well, what did you learn tonight kind of thing, right? And it's not really about the husbands, what I do. I mean, it definitely ripples out into that area, but mine's more on your relationship with yourself. But we have a lot of really great tools for couples to come together in relationship and really learn that feminine and masculine aspect and how to step into that to ignite more passion and connection in their relationship. And we say this because we've experienced it. This is the first time we've ever talked about sex on this show, but when...
Oh, I wanted to have something. Yes.
You finally get to.
Yes. Okay. Carry on.
So, when we get so distracted with life and we're, keeping up with the automatic things that we have to do every day, put the kids to bed, go to work, make supper, pay the bills, go to sleep so that we can wake up and do it all over again. And we don't make time to connect with our partners emotionally, mentally, but then physically. And that aspect of connection, like a physical connection, doesn't even need to be intercourse, but just like a physical connection where you're increasing sexual energy between the two of you. A lot of people are so detached from that, and we have been as well, so we can speak to that, are so detached from that then there's that disconnect, and then things just really seem to spiral downhill, right? Like shit
really
goes bad
does.
at work, and then you can't shake it off because everything's just building. So what we have found in our relationship is when you can find ways to come back and reignite that physical passion, and when you're having like great connected sex or even just like intimate time together, everything else in your life takes an immediate shift as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Your communication, the way you treat each other, the way you respect each other.
Well, just everything's easier in the way you carry yourself.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Everything.
Confidence.
Yeah.
You just basically like turn that negative shit spiral into a 180, and it starts going in the other direction. So that's some stuff that we'll be working on creating as well. So if that's sounding good to you, then definitely keep following us, and we'll be announcing something in the future where we're going to take couples through journeys of that as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. Awesome.
All right.
Well, we'll leave it at that. I love you.
I love you too.
I love you guys for listening. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Lots of love. Bye.